Hello everyone, my name is Harry and today we're checking if Wrath of the Lich King Classic was successful. How successful was it? How many subscribers did it bring back to the game? Plus, a bonus at the end of the video, so stick around and let's begin. Let's begin with the only data available to us, which is going to be Warcraft logs of course. So before Wrath of the Lich King, before the launch of Wrath of the Lich King, there was the TBC last phase going on, Sunwell Plateau. We can see here how many guilds. We can see here the total amount of guilds that have managed to clear the raid, which is going to be about 17,000 guilds for the full clear, around 1,000 guilds for 5 out of 6, and around 2,000 guilds for a 4 out of 6 clear and going on. And at the same time, there was also Shadowlands phase 3 going on. And we can see here how many guilds have managed to clear each boss. This graph is a little bit different from the Burning Crusade one. And we will see this pattern as we move on, but we can see here how many guilds have managed to... We can see about 8,000 guilds have managed to kill the jailer in the heroic mode. And here are the Naxxramas data, the full phase 1 of Wrath of the Lich King Classic, and I've put everything in an Excel spreadsheet in which we're going to do some digging. Here are the data in the spreadsheet. We can see how many guilds, before the launch of Wrath of the Lich King Classic, how many guilds were playing Burning Crusade Sunwell Plateau. We can see how many guilds did a full clear, how many guilds cleared 5 bosses, how many guilds cleared 4 bosses out of 6, and how many guilds cleared like 3 bosses. If we add all those numbers together, we get about 20,650 guilds. And I've multiplied the amount of guilds by 30 people, because not all guilds run a 25-man roster. And we're going to do the same thing for Shadowlands. So Shadowlands last phase, but I've decided to go with how many guilds cleared the jailer in heroic mode. And that number was 8,025 guilds. If we multiply the amount of guilds that cleared jailer heroic, which was 8,025, and we've multiplied that, and we have multiplied that number by 25 also. Well, not all guilds in Shadowlands run 25-man rosters, but they have like casual players. But we don't want to make the game look bad, don't we? And here are the data for the first phase of Wrath of the Lich King Classic. As we can see here, 26,000 guilds managed to do a full clear, which means like every boss, including Naxxramas, Atharion and Maligos. We can see how many guilds did a 16 out of 17 and so forth. So see, we get if we add together those guilds, we get a number of about 29, let's say roughly about 29,000. And if we multiply it by 30, because not all guilds run a 25-man roster, like we always had backup players in case someone couldn't raid, we get about almost 900,000 people. And, that's only PvE players, because Warcraft logs, as we know, only tracks raiding players. So if we add the PvP players too, we could possibly get to like 1 million people and plus playing the first phase of Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Assuming everyone from TBC carried forward to Wrath of the Lich King, plus everyone from Shadowlands carrying forward to Wrath of the Lich King first phase, if we add together those two numbers, the green ones, we get a total amount of player of about 800,000 people playing carrying forward into Wrath of the Lich King Classic. If we subtract this number from the total amount of players who are playing the Wrath of the Lich King Classic, we get the new subscribers in the game. Or we got about 50,000 PvE players back into the game. So moving on. When the first phase was near its end, we had the Christmas, so a lot of guilds like disbanded and stopped playing the game. But we also had the release of Dragonflight. As we can see, for Dragonflight, you can see the first raid Vault of Incarnates. Here are the data for it. We can see how many guilds entered the raid in Mythic. But I've decided to go with the heroic version. How many guilds entered, which was about 16,530 guilds entered the first boss in heroic. And as we can see here, if we multiply that number with a 25-man roster, we get about 400,000 people. Compare that to Jailer, numbers are almost doubled. So we can say that the release of Dragonflight brought back like almost half the current population. So what else was going on during that time? With the release of Dragonflight, we got Ulduar. We see the amount of players that carried on from phase 1, which was about 800,000 people. All those people carried on to phase 2. What else happened? Ulduar got released, and if we can check the Warcraft logs, we can see with the release of Ulduar, well here the graph is a little bit different because each point represents like a point. It could this point could be like Flame Leviathan on normal mode. If we get this in the Ulduar data, we can see first 5,000 guilds cleared everything. We can see 3,000, almost 3,000 guilds cleared 53 out of 54 points. And I have also added those things. And we get a total amount of guilds of about 9,000. And if we multiply that by a 30-man roster, we get about 270,000. If we add together the amount of people playing Dragonflight and the amount of people playing Ulduar, we get almost 700,000 people playing the game. And we can see if we subtract from this number the amount of people who played phase 1, we get 135,000 people lost. So why is that? People may have quit the game. Lost Ark got released at the same time. So here I think the community is separated. Classic people who were playing Wrath of the Lich King Classic kept playing like Classic, and people who were playing Retail kept playing Retail. Moving on to next phase, after Ulduar, we get Trial of the Crusade raid. Here things are pretty simple. We can see how many guilds managed to clear everything on Heroic. I've put the data on the spreadsheet, and here we can see how many guilds managed to clear everything. So if we put those numbers together, we get about 11,000 guilds, and if we multiply it by a 30-man roster also, we get about 300,000 people playing Trial of the Crusade. Going on from Trial of the Crusade to Ice Crown Citadel, we can see how many people managed to clear Lord Marogar on Heroic, how many people killed Death Whispers, how many guilds, and so forth. So for this number, I've decided to take the Marogar heroic kills to the spreadsheet, and if we take the Marogar heroic kills multiplied by 30, we get about 300,000 people playing Wrath of the Lich King Classic during the Ice Crown Citadel. I want to remind you that those are Warcraft log numbers, and it only tracks PV players. Nothing more to say here. And going for a bonus spreadsheet, as we can see, the last phase of Ice Crown, the last phase of Wrath of the Lich King Classic. We can see how many guilds cleared the Ruby Sanctum on normal and heroic. We can see on heroic it's 2000 guilds, and on normal it's about 4000 guilds. So here is the number on the spreadsheet. That's the amount of people playing. That's the amount of guilds that cleared Hali on normal, about 100,000 people. But we have more things. We also have the release of a Season of Discovery, and as we can see here, we can see how many guilds managed to clear Black Fathom Depths. This is a 10-man raid, not a 20 or 25-man raid, so the number, even though it is a lot of guilds, the number is going to be kinda small. Well, 83,000. Yeah, 83,000 guilds, because I've multiplied it by 10. And that's it, everyone. Thank you for watching this video.